Do we want to
3.
do an intro?
Yeah, we can. Just be like, hey, we're disgruntled Lego fans. We both love and hate all the stuff we're gonna be talking about today.
I love it. That's beautiful. We're using it. Done. Hello, everyone. I'm your friendly neighborhood Cinderfox.
And I'm a friendly hammer. A Mr. Hammer, no
Yes.
less.
We should probably say something about what we're doing other than the intro, because the intro is beautiful, but.
That is fair. That is fair. We're just gonna be taking a handful of Lego sets that we're interested in throughout, multiple themes of the new wave that has come out, and just talk about them. Talk about them. There's gonna be some positives. There's gonna be some negatives.
Lots of negatives.
More critical than me, man.
I'm just kidding. And what are we going to be looking at first, Mr. Hammer?
The first set is the Smart Play Millennium Falcon. I know I said that there's going to be some positives, but we're starting off on a generally negative one here. Just for the fact that for like $100, the Millennium Falcon's kind of steeply priced for 4 figures and 885 pieces. But not only that, they're generally small pieces. I've looked at reviews and stuff. I don't personally own this, so I don't have full skin in the game here. But it's generally pretty expensive for something of that size, regardless of piece count. It's generally sturdy and stuff, which is nice. And I think the play area that you have inside when you open it up is very nice and interesting, but not necessarily for the price. And the fact that you can't buy a smart brick by itself makes this, makes half the functionality of this set really expensive. And I just don't think that's necessarily fair to kids or, the parents of kids who would want a set like this.
Mm-hmm.
I see a lot of people like naysaying it's like, oh, the smart bricks makes these sets look horrible. And to some degree on other sets like the Darth Vader's TIE Fighter, it kind of messes up the look of it. But not the case here. I think it generally looks pretty nice, and when I look at it, I'm saying like, yeah, that's the Falcon, even though it's small.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with you though with the inside. I actually didn't see that coming. When I looked at it from the outside, I was like, "Oh, that's a small set." I imagined it like quite tiny, like so small that it wouldn't have space inside. But to see that there's the whole like you got the game board, you got other stuff going on, and even like little rooms, that is kind of cool. I can't knock the playability of the set just from the interior.
And overall, this scale of set, that level of playability, I think is the greatest strength.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the price point and the fact that a good portion of the functionality comes from the smart brick kind of hurts um hurts the value of this towards any parent buying this for their kid, let alone any adult who'd want this. But I'm pretty sure they will release a smart brick separately at some point, though the question is how expensive that'll be.
So the
uh
smart brick is not out yet.
no, the smart brick is out yet, but you have to buy it in very specific sets.
Oh, and it doesn't come with the Millennium Falcon, so you have to buy an entirely different actual full set.
Yes, the cheapest one to get is $70 with the Smart Play Vader's TIE Fighter. But that price is kind of insane because $170 just to have your kid play with these smart features of this is insane. Now, I understand why the price cap is kind of up there because, a good number of those figures, because I think it's definitely Luke. Maybe all of them are smart figures. I don't remember. I haven't looked directly. Um,
Oh, it does
but
say they're smart play figures, yeah.
but that means that they're not customizable because they're like their legs and body are fused together because they got electronics on the inside.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people complain that it also ruins the look of the figures because they'll have like specific markings to show, you know, that this is not something that can be directly thrown out because it has the electronics inside. So it has little markings to show, hey, you got to do something else with these instead of just throw them out directly. And then not only
Yeah.
that, they have different like symbols rather than general back printing on their back, I think, for the smart brick directly.
Oh,
And
okay.
that kind of sucks, but if I'm honest, since this is mainly for kids, I don't think that the kids are really gonna care whether or not that it has like the perfect back printing, so long as they have, Luke Skywalker or a Han Solo. But the fact that all four of those figures are driving up the price of this set, and it doesn't even come with a smart brick, is, I think, the most egregious portion of this. A lot of fans are upset with it, and I believe that's fair. But looking at this from a child perspective more so than the adult perspective, I really have to think, if I were to get this with the smart brick, would I have fun with these characters, making silly noises, or the lightsaber going off, or music coming from this, or the shooting and stuff.
Hmm.
So I have to try and view it from that perspective, and I think for the most part I would. But again, it comes down to, would my parents buy this at
Yeah.
$100?
Yeah.
Which, my answer for that is my parents wouldn't have. There's a lot of sets I missed out on simply because, like in like the 2014 era, simply because they were too expensive. And I think that has only gotten worse, especially with now that they're trying to stick a bunch of electronics into these sets, which is going to drive up the price regardless.
Yeah, that's true. Like coming from a kid's perspective, even just the set itself, like the Millennium Falcon vibes. I would have been like, yo, that's so cool. It's a spaceship, you got people. But I would have been like, spaceship, cool, characters, cool. We're having a vibe of a time. Adding lights and sounds, obviously fun, right? Who doesn't love lights and sounds? Just makes it feel more cool and more real. So, I mean, I would have said, like, as a kid, I would have been like, yeah, let's go. I'm down for this. But it is more expensive because there is an adult market buying these, right? They're not just catering to children anymore. They have adults who were kids, grew up, really love Lego, still buy Lego, and especially when it comes to Star Wars, you have such a big adult fandom, right? There's a lot of people buying Lego, a lot of people looking for specifically Star Wars, so they can drive up that price because adults can afford it, but they're losing out on the opportunity for the kids to be able to like access that because let's be honest, economy's not great. Poor children are, well, not as in like literally poor, I mean like sad, like
Mhm.
children are gonna miss out because yeah, you're driving up the price for the few adults that can afford it, right?
The best part of this is the interior. I
Mm,
think that is by far the most interesting. And if they were to do this for a standard, do something like that for like standard play scale, um, Millennium Falcon, I think that'd be really fun. And I think it's also fun how the way in which the Falcon opens up.
yeah, that's really
Uh,
creative to have the roof open up like that because it leaves the whole floor space to play with.
but other than that, I think this is too steep of asking price for little Jimmy and
It
asking his
really
parents.
is. Yeah.
I think that wraps that up though. So we're free to go on to the next one.
My turn.
Which one of yours are we talking about first?
All right, the first one on mine is gonna be Lloyd's mech. I am the biggest Ninjago fan there ever did was. Uh, I've been there from the beginning. I love it. I didn't buy sets when I was a kid because again, um, poor, happy but poor. So I didn't get any of the Ninjago sets until I was an adult myself. But definitely love it. Definitely love it. I've seen all the seasons a bunch of times. Mr. Hammer has watched all of them with me. So,
Good times, man. Good times.
really good times. Highly recommend. This mech that came out in March of 2026 this year is supposed to be part of the anniversary series that they're coming out with, Ninjago Legacy. I was pumped when I heard that this was the mech they chose because I have wanted this mech for like literally ever. I was like, this is the coolest thing. I'm not a mech girly, but I wanted that mech. And because it was so important to the plot, it had a lot of fun. Some of my favorite quotes of Lloyd's are involving that mech. So, gotta love it. This is the mech from the show. Now, it's actually pretty similar, I would say, for a lot of it. The helmet piece looks the same. You've still got that green motif. You got the big calves. Like, They really did have a lot going for it. The only thing that they're missing that I really wanted and what made me fall in love with this mech is the wings. These like angel-like wings off the back of the mech. It looks really cool. It looks really fun and dramatic, and I love it. When I saw the first picture of this mech, I was like, where'd the wings go? Where's the best part of the mech? Why is it gone? They also added a lot of more gold motifs, but you know what? That just looks nice. No problems with that whatsoever. Now, they do have an option where the shield turns into wings partially. Is it 3 wings? No. Would it look cooler like that? Yes. But at least they have an option for those wings. So I can't fully hate it. But it does feel like it's still missing that, even though you can do the switch and that does add playability to the mech. It's just leaving out the cool part.
I would definitely say I can definitely see your points. Personally, I guess is because I'm not necessarily attached to how their wings looked. I'm not too mindful of that, especially because I do, at least from a child's perspective, love the fact that you can turn that into a shield for the wee lads to use. Um, However, I do think that they should have made the wings look a little closer to how they looked in the show, because I do
Yeah.
very much like the brick built design that they have, but the
Mm-hmm.
fact that they're more of a departure from the original mech, I can definitely see the upset in terms of that. Did the wings that they originally have, was there 6 of them originally? I don't remember.
Well,
I
there
don't
were
have the picture
six
pulled up.
prongs, like three per side.
Yeah, they probably I definitely know that they could have done that with a brick built form and then have that turn into a shield. But maybe they found that that wasn't sturdy enough or whatnot and went with this. I don't know. But
Yeah.
it is a little disappointing to see that the form factors kind of changed. Though overall, like if I were a wee lad looking at this, regardless of whether or not I watched the original season, I would have picked this up. But I'm also a very big mech fan overall. As my
Mm.
one of my favorite themes is Exo Force. So you
I
know.
did want to pick it up. I did, but like there's just that and my final gripe of this set. It comes with an ice guy and like yes, Ice Warrior is cool, okay? I'm not dissing the Ice Warrior. I love that half of the season. It's great. Problem is I know so many people, not just myself, who wanted Akita like so bad because that was the whole thing is that Lloyd and Akita went on an adventure with this mech. And so it would have been really cool to have Akita in her wolf form here. That would have been just the coolest thing because then she could like ride on the mech and whatever like just like in the show and that would have been oh, I know they need a bad guy because they're like, well, what's the mech gonna fight? But like Akita.
Well, if they were gonna do a bad guy, I think it'd be far more interesting to have the evil ice version of Zane that they had during that season instead of just a dude,
I
the ice dude,
agree. It seems like a cop out to just have an ice dude there.
And I don't understand why they didn't want to pull out the Akita mold when they have a mold there that hasn't been used in years with
Mm-hmm.
the little ice warrior helmet and stuff. That I think is a little ridiculous.
I agree. I'm sure there's a reason. I'm not at the table. I don't get to see all the decisions, but I there's so many people who are like why didn't Akita make it? And I do get like the sword and everything. There's a lot going on. Mechs are complicated. Dude, I can't I've tried to build mechs. That is my weakness is building mechs. So I know for a fact that it's not easy to design one of these. And for the most part, I like the design. The legs look like the legs in the show. Like they actually did a really good job with most of that. Yeah, it's just I really love those wings, and I really loved Akita. That's my gripe about the mech. Again, like really well built. I'm not trying to. The creators worked hard. Mechs are so hard to make, and it does look great. It's just those two things that like bug me enough that I'm like, I don't know if it's worth the $170 Canadian to drop on this thing. All right, let's
Oh,
talk about your next piece because this one's a little bit more positive, I believe, right?
oh, from my end, yes. The magnolia branches I think are really pretty looking. A little messed up on the price to piece count, because it's 435 pieces to $50. But if this goes on sale, because I see this quite often in Costco, like, yeah, I definitely I may want to pick this up. I'm not necessarily like the botanical guy, but I do very much like, building things, especially when they look unique. And most of these pieces here I don't have, mainly because I'm very, frugal when buying Lego sets at this point. But mainly because they're expensive. But these guys look really good. They
They
look really
do.
good. They look pretty. What is it like? I don't know if it's like dual molding or printing that they have for the flowers, but that looks really good. And then like inside there of the flower looks really nice. Not only that, the branches look like properly spindly. For the most part, you wouldn't tell that this is necessarily bricks or anything, which if I were to want a Lego set that doesn't directly look like bricks, this would be it, because it just looks really, really good.
The little knobs are brown frogs.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. Hold
The
on, let me take a
little
look
knobs on
here.
the branches are little brown frogs.
Ah, I should have noticed that. I should have noticed that.
I love the
Yeah.
pieces that they use, like using little whipped cream tops to finish off the bigger white buds. Also, just like the use of those center pieces for the flowers is just um the centerpieces for the flowers are just gorgeous, as well as the actual like detail on the petals. I think that's why the price is the way it is. Because my only gripe with this set is the price. Because it's such a small amount of pieces, it's such a small set, it doesn't even come with a pot. I actually have a few of the other like botanical sets, and they all come with like a little pot to hold them in, right? And I get that these look great in a real vase, right? You can style it how you want. That's fine. It's the same price as the ones that have a Lego built pot included. So I'm like,
Well,
but I'm seeing these printed flower petals, and I think that's what the price is going towards. And I understand it a bit more now, actually seeing close up that these are like specialty printed and they look really pretty.
I think it is a little silly that the buds are just like 2x2 cone pieces. I think that's really funny. But the rest of it is absolutely beautiful. That's it. That's it on this one.
That's it. I'm done. Get it
That's
out
it.
of here.
I'm done talking about the positive stuff. I want to focus on the negative. Which one are we talking about next?
We're talking about the Claude Monet Bridge over a pond of water lilies. So when I saw this on as a set coming out, I was like, no way, one of the sets that I actually want. It's beautiful. I love, if you're looking at the detailing, the original painting has really specific brush strokes that like really help give you the feel for the art piece and the feel for what the painting actually is. And Lego replicated that. I would say really well for what they're working with, to think about like blocks and working with Lego blocks, and then to be able to have like texture on top of an already textured block, right? So it's whoever did this, genius. It looks amazing. I love that they use little uh the painter tray for the lily pads, because it really does look like the lily pads. I love the color schemes that they picked. It really matches the vibe of what's going on, and even changing up like not always straight pulls, but sometimes there's those round discs in there just to give that change in watercolor vibes. And like the swords for the bulrushes on the side, and the bridge itself popping out and giving a little bit more shape to the set. Really cool. I love that it's come out a little bit to really emphasize that it's over. I think it would have been washed away in the background if it had been flat, because you have so much texture going on with like even the butterflies and the little cherry pieces that are colored differently in the top. There's got to be a frog in here somewhere, right? Like there's a frog piece somewhere. I found the frog pieces.
Where they at?
In the lilies, there's white frogs sitting on top of some pieces.
If this were to go like $50 off or something,
Oh,
and
you
I
know
were
it.
100% interested in it, I'd pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this set isn't directly for me, but I know very little about the art piece overall, so that kind of makes sense. But I'd say for the design alone would be nice. It's just my only other concern is it seems like it'd be tedious after a certain point because of how many little tiny pieces you had to get in like perfect spots. But
And I do know that I would want each piece to be exactly where it should be.
yeah,
And I hate putting the little poles in the little clips because of how exact it needs to be, and you can like move it to any length, right? So it's like, this is actually it would be a pain. It would be a pain, but it would be a beautiful pain.
this is in my opinion one of the better like painting sets that they've done because it's something that is unique. The build style is generally unique, even if it's putting like 30 billion little tiny pieces in.
Mhm.
I still think that this would be fun, even though it's a bunch of little tiny pieces.
And that's not to hate on the other art sets that have come out. The Vincent van Gogh sunflowers are gorgeous.
For me, not that this is necessarily new, the Milky Way galaxy would probably be my pick,
That
simply
one's
because
fun.
yeah.
Your turn.
Yes. Yeah, I was about to ask, but I was trying to think of a polite way to say it. It's my
uh
turn. It's my turn. So, the Maersk, dual fuel container vessel. I was
mhm.
just looking, at sets because I'm like, okay, what do I want to talk about? Because I didn't want to do full Lego Star Wars. People have kind of beat, a lot of the issues that they have with this current wave to death.
Mhm. Mhm.
And to me that it's kind of not interesting to see people beat it to death as they have. I believe they have good points, but I want to talk about sets that catch my eye. And the colors on this one interests me, as well as just kind of the build. I think it's a little steep. I know it's got the correct number of pieces, but I'm not entirely sure the size is correct. I mean, compared to that kid, maybe. I don't know. I don't.
Compared to that kid. That
Well,
one
yeah, yeah.
child. Oh yeah, it's
That,
actually
that,
kind of big compared to that kid. You're not wrong.
I don't know. The shipping container ships are kind of cool, and to see them, to see that in Lego form is kind of nice. I'd like to see them do a minifigure scale version of this, or
mm,
maybe not the same size, but just a cargo ship on minifigure scale, just because I think that'd be fun. But I don't know, man. It's just it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool to see all the shipping containers that they have.
yeah.
That they have little details like showing off the engine. They have,
Hmm.
a little captain seat for nobody. Well, yeah, they even have like a little egg, and a little coffee cup for again nobody, which I think is kind of funny. Like, I think overall, this is from an adult perspective more so than a kid's perspective, even though I have a little child there.
Hmm.
I think this would just be a fun model to build, man. To me, this looks nice. I like the colors that come with it. I like the overall construction.
Hmm.
Um, I like when they do stuff like this. I want to see them do like a shipping container set for minifigures, just for the fun of it.
I am very glad that the bottom of the boat is not their like one piece mold thing that they have for a lot of their ships.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
I know
That's
that's
fair.
more for playability so that it can float in water because that mold allows the boat to actually float. And I
I don't know. You
can't I
think this
can't
one
diss it too
floats?
much. I doubt it. I really doubt it.
I was mainly joking here. I don't think it does because I don't think there's any buoyancy there, and I think there's too much space in between the blocks. But
I agree.
regardless,
I agree. This would just sink straight to the bottom. But
yeah.
it is a cool build. I could agree with that.
One that caught me by surprise because usually when I'm looking at random sets outside of the regular themes I'm looking at are like the classic themes. I'm just in like I have no interest in these, and I saw that I'm just like, hey man, that kind of goes hard.
Is that a bed and a toilet underneath the little cup and coffee?
Yes, yes, that is. That's silly. Now I love what this implies because you have the table with the little egg and the coffee cup.
The cup is
but
bigger than the toilet.
the cup is bigger than the toilet. How much of these guys eat? Did they just make like one big egg and then one big pot of coffee for like more of a like cauldron of
It's a
coffee for everyone
cauldron
on
of
the ship?
coffee.
Still, that's a fun set. That one caught me by surprise, and I'd like to see them do more of that. Again, seeing this in minifigure scale would look nice. I think that may be worth 150. Maybe a little less, maybe closer to 125. I'd have to see like the price to weight count at this point. But I'm giving them a pass. On to yours now.
It's my turn?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
Oh my. Ladies and gentlemen, you are in for a treat. Feast your eyes on the Lego Crocs. Yes, these are name brand Crocs.
Price to piece count is awful, man. $150 for 2 pieces, dude? Like, ooh.
In Canadian, it's 200
Right,
for
that's
two
100.
pieces.
That's 100 per piece, man. That's brutal.
Personally, I would never wear these. But they are funny, and I'm glad someone decided to go through with it, and Crocs is definitely the company that would do it.
Does the little Lego figure with the Crocs come with this?
Is there a little Lego figure with Crocs?
Yeah. Scroll down through the thing.
It
That's
better.
silly, man.
It better come with the Crocs. You're also not stubbing your toes.
That is true. I don't think you're feeling any impact. These are probably as handy as steel tip boots, man. Like
well.
biggest con, price to piece count's too high.
Way too high.
If it comes with the Lego figure, that helps it a little bit because that adds like 7 pieces with the little Crocs. But it doesn't say whether or not that comes with them. So I don't know.
They're wild. They're wacky, and if they're for you, then please wear them. If I ever see someone in the wild just wearing one of these, I have to take a picture with them because
Crazy work, man. Crazy work.
because I want to know. I want to know why they bought it. I want to know if it was legit or if it was satire, and I want to know if they have that kind of money to give me to buy a Lego set. I'm just kidding, of course. But it's fun.
On to my last set, which is the upscaled blue astronaut minifigure. I have mainly good things to say about this. Price to piece count is perfect. The Lego set looks really nice. I do have my occasional gripes with the upscaled minifigures because I think it's kind of silly. But if it's mainly with like classic minifigures like the first one that we got, which I think was just a classic, just smiley face dude, and where this is a classic spaceman, I give it a pass. This is actually not a bad price to piece count for Canadian, and it's really good for US right now because it's 793 pieces for $60, which is generally pretty good. Everything about this set looks really nice. I think the interior of the guy's head is kind of funny, more so than that of the original one, simply for the fact that it just kind of comes off and there's like this cockpit section. My only complaint is I do not understand why they couldn't just put a Lego Classic Space minifigure instead of the robot, because we already have a bunch of molds, especially even of the blue one, of the Lego Classic Space minifigure. So I don't see why they couldn't go ahead and include that instead of the little tiny robot. And the little robots are fun. I have it from like the Lego Movie 2 battle pack of the spaceman. But this I think suffers from not having a minifigure in an upscaled minifigure set. Other than that, I think Lego should keep up with builds like these because they're just kind of fun. But stick specifically to this. I don't want to see an upscaled Lego minifigure of Luke Skywalker or Darth Vader. Those maybe come down the line. I don't know, or have already been here.
Yeah, I like the simplicity of the classic minifigures. I'm liking the vibes going on. Like this guy just looks so happy to exist. No thoughts behind the eyes, And the robot is cute. I do agree though that I wish there was a little minifigure inside the head and not a robot. I like that the legs and arms move and the hands like the smaller scaled minifigure. Like I like that it's like it's still functional.
Yeah. price to piece count on this last set is pretty good for both U.S. and Canadian.
Are you
But
talking about
it's still
mine?
pretty. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
wait, hold up. I'm taking my thunder.
Hey man, I'm letting you do the talking. This is your deal.
You're right though. The price to piece count is beautiful. Even in Canadian, it actually matches up really well. I can't complain. It looks really small, especially in the pictures. It's actually bigger in person, I would say. When it's all together in one piece, it looks a little smaller, but I love the set. First of all, because for one of their first sets releasing for the Ninjago 15th anniversary, this is the first scene you have in the entirety of Lego Ninjago. This is the pilot episode. Kai and Nia's parents aren't actually in that episode, but Wu is, and Kai and Nia are there, and we got Kai doing his blacksmith thingy. It is very close. They have a show to scene comparison, and like down to the blue phone here and everything. Like it's really close, and I do love it a lot. And when it's open like this, the set becomes a lot bigger. It takes up a lot more space. It shows a lot more. You've got Kai's original, one of his hoods from the first kind of plot of the show, and then we also got Nia's Samurai X helmet, and I think that's really fun. Both of those actually come out with their little stands, and they have like little gamer stat cards on the back that you can't actually read, but they look cute. So you know what, it's really fun to have little stat cards attached to the helmets. Also, one thing they don't really advertise in the pictures anywhere, in the original episode, the first episode, Kai puts on armor to go defend the building and try to protect his sister, because there's warriors coming. So this sword here that's on the wall, as well as there's a helmet on the top, and then there's actually armor in the background here. He puts that helmet and that chest plate on because A, he's a blacksmith, he has it, and B, he's not a ninja yet. He's just doing what he can to defend his home. They already lost their parents. Their parents are, yeah, not there in the beginning. So it's just him and his sister. And then Wu shows up and is like, you must fight. And Kai's like, why would I fight? And then Nia gets kidnapped and Kai's like, oh, now I have to fight. I like the reference to the Samurai X. I love that they have the armor that Kai puts on to try to protect himself. I like that they added Kai and Nia's parents. Spoiler alert, but it's a really old show. You should really watch it. Eventually they do come back, and we find them, and we find out why they have been gone this whole time. But I like having them. I like knowing that I have them, because I really love their character designs. They're not around a lot, but they're a vibe. Also, fun fact, Lloyd's original voice actor when he was played as a kid, was Jillian Michaels. She's amazing. She did a great job. Love it. Iconic. Will always appreciate her work. The new voice actor is great too. Don't get me wrong, I'm also a fan of him, but Jillian Michaels, love her. And she came back to voice Kai and Nia's mom. And so it's really fun to hear her voice again in a different character and play it like as well as she does. It's like, yes. I love this set. It was really fun to build, actually. The different techniques they use to get the ground in the set is really cool. The way it splits apart and connects together really easily is really, really cool. The middle of the roof just pops off really handy. Like, it looks good. It looks good. Even the photos on the wall, even the do not step on the grass is really fun, because that's actually a scene in the show. It's all pretty cool.
You know, overall, I was gonna comment, you know, on the size of the set directly. But I don't know. I had to look at it for a bit, seeing the height of it and stuff, especially like next to the minifigures and whatnot. I think that's generally pretty good. Overall, I love that Ninjago is still killing it in terms of sets.
Yeah.
Overall, this looks nice.
Ninjago doesn't think about its environment as being built out of Lego. None of the environment, none of the trees, none of the mountains, none of the buildings are made out of Lego. Like in the Lego movie, or even the Lego Ninjago movie, everything is Lego. Buildings, everything. The show is not like that. It's just the minifigure, like the characters themselves that are Lego. Everything else, even their weapons that they use, are just weapons. They're not Lego form weapons. So there's a lot of like, yeah, challenges when it comes to that because they took creative liberties to make the building look funky and cool and be part of the style that they were going for, right? It's the pilot. They're having fun with it. So to be able to like replicate that using Lego as closely as they have, even the way the roof is tiered and everything, it's just like, wow, I'm impressed. It carries its weight in its memento. Good job to all the creators. I love it. I love it. So thank you. But yeah, all these sets, wild and fun, exciting, maybe not exciting, who knows. But keep giving us more Lego. It's fun. Comment, tell us things. Also, if you disagree, that's okay. You can have a wrong opinion. That's fine. I'm kidding. You are totally free to have your own opinions, and I'd love to hear them because honestly, new perspectives means my brain grows a little bit. So yay.
Be safe out there.
Be safe.
Yeah, be safe.
Play with Lego. Stay building, everyone. Bye.
Have a good one.